Christina Theodorou has worked in tribal leadership and development as an advocate of generating equity, parity, balance for Indigenous communities. She's a graduate from UNC Pembroke and has 15 years experience working in small business development across the state of North Carolina, supporting small business owners and helping to build capacity. I also want to mention that we have a partnership with CREATE, and so NCAIED's partnership with that, I am the project liaison, and have had the pleasure of meeting with the team in North Carolina. And Christina, I'm going to let you talk about CREATE and the Kenan Institute and UNC Chapel Hill. And with that, I will turn it over to you.
Hi, good morning. I'm very excited to be here. I think I said to one of the staff members, it's very cold. So I had to bring my big coat, as my husband said when I packed. So very excited to be here at a Native Edge Institute training. Bringing greetings on behalf of Greg Brown, who's the director of the Kenan Institute at the Kenan Flagler Business School, as well as our executive director, Mark Little. But I'm also happy to bring you greetings from Dr. Amy Lockley-Hertel, who's the vice provost, and she's also a member of the Lumbee-Coharie tribe in North Carolina. She's very excited about our partnership with NCAIED and supporting the work of NCAIED. So my job is as program manager for a project called AICER Institutions Creating Economic Resiliency. And so through the pandemic, the Kenan Institute, let me stop real quick, the Kenan Institute is a policy and research institute that's attached to the business school, the Kenan Flagler Business School at UNC Chapel Hill. We do some phenomenal work. The CREATE team, NC Growth, Smart Up, and AICER are all part of the CREATE team, and we do some phenomenal work engaging with small businesses, communities, municipalities across North and South Carolina, to really foster and grow ecosystems around anchor institutions. So tribes are anchor institutions, and through the work of AICER, AICER stands for Anchor Institutions Creating Economic Resiliency. So my job as program manager is to work with anchor institutions that we identify to create and support ecosystems. And we do that through the power of research and data that helps impact policy. And so I also actually do business services for small business owners, and that really is what gets me going in the morning engaged. And I can say that it was very exciting to walk into the room this morning because you can feel that entrepreneurial spirit that is always present when business owners are present, right? So that's really and truly the biggest part of the work of AICER, is supporting those small business owners. But not just small business owners. What we understood was during the pandemic, minority business owners were more adversely affected by COVID, right? And so what you saw wasn't just disruption in the supply chain, but you saw business owners really struggling to keep their doors open. And I will say what we saw from data was minority business owners were actually very resilient, and worked very hard to make sure that they survived the pandemic. And so through the work of AICER, we're able to really understand how to support business owners and grow their procurement practices, meet purchasers, and identify the needs of anchor institutions to support those business owners. So as we define anchor institutions, for me, I'm a member of the Lumbee tribe. So for me, that's to make sure that tribes are defined, well-defined as anchor institutions, that we understand tribes as economic drivers in economies and ecosystems that not only support their tribal members that are small business owners, but actually support the economies that they exist in. And so through the work of AICER, we're able to do that. And so currently we have projects with the Lumbee tribe, the Catawba tribe, and their Eastern Band Cherokee in North Carolina. And so through the work of NCAIED and with Jessamine, we are hoping to broaden our scope of impact and assistance to NCAIED and actually help identify some of the opportunities to support the tribal business owners through the work of NCAIED. And so more to come on that, right? But intrinsically, what we understand is that small business owners are an essential part of rural economies in North Carolina, in the South, and actually the United States, specifically also too in tribal communities. A lot of the work that I do, a big part of the work that I do is business certifications. And so I think a lot of you will understand this information. So these are the certifications that we support business owners either understanding how to utilize these certifications, or we actually work with policymakers to better tool the policy around supporting these certifications. And so states have MWBE certifications or historically underutilized business hub certifications. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. Sort of kind of hard to gauge where some of the business owners are here in the room. I do know that there's some higher level businesses that understand these certifications. But long story short, these certifications we see as a way for minority business owners, tribal business owners, woman-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, disadvantaged businesses to be able to create that area of opportunity that majority-owned businesses cannot. And so through the work of AICER, what we do is we support these certification types. Specifically in the state of North Carolina, we're working with the Department of Administration and the State Hub Office to understand the nuances around hub policies and implementation and really utilizing small business owners that are hub certified businesses. And so all that means is that if you are eligible to be a hub certified business or MWBE, Minority Women Business Enterprise business in your state, then by all means, our work is to say you should get hub certified, MWBE certified with your state, and use that as an advantage to your business. Minority Business Enterprise, Women's Business Enterprise certifications are corporate certifications. And so if your goal is to expand your business practices and procure business opportunities with corporations, then MBE and WBE certifications are the way for you to do that. And so we partner with actually Carolina's Minority Supplier Development Council and the National Minority Supplier Development Council that does MBE certifications to understand the nuances of policy and how their policy supports small business owners, and actually what state hub and MWBE certifying entities should also better understand in the relationship between corporate certifications and state certifications. DBE certification, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, is a certification that goes along with the Departments of Transportations across the states. If you are eligible for DBE certification, then that means that that's how you would procure business with your state Department of Transportation, as well as your federal Department of Transportation. That's important for tribal businesses because the federal Department of Transportation is what you see on reservations and managing reservations. And again, I think that some of you all have heard this conversation. I'm just reinforcing the certifications. What I will say is that what I'm excited about is how do we support TARO certifications, which is the tribal employment rights offices that are on tribes across the United States. So what we see is that there is this stratification of the size of TARO offices. And so what my team hopes to do through the work of AICER is to understand how we support TARO offices. How can UNC Chapel Hill, the Strength of the Business School, assist tribes understand how to better support TARO rights? How does that lead over into relationships with states, the federal government? So again, we hope to support TARO certification through the work of AICER. And then, of course, we all know SBA certification. What we have began as a conversation with the regional office in Atlanta for the Southeast SBA offices to look at the attrition rate, right? So oftentimes what we hear is that there is a high rate of businesses that come into existence through our state secretary offices, right? Well, what we're looking at the Kenan Institute through the work of AICER, well, what happens with the attrition rate? So about 2 months ago, we heard that there were 1,700 businesses that came into existence in the Sandhill regions of North Carolina. And there's 3 tribes in the Sandhill region, the Waccamaw-Siouan, the Lumbee, and the Coharie. So there were 1,700 businesses just in the Sandhill region alone that came into existence. So what we're trying to understand is, well, what about the attrition rate? So we know statistically, and even through census data, businesses that come to existence. But what we're asking the SBA to do is to help us have a conversation about what happens to those businesses when they go out of business and what's the decline. And so that's another project that we have that we're starting with the SBA, the regional SBA office in Atlanta. This is a comparative chart that I've put together that tells the differences between the various certifications. And again, I think that you all are very aware of these certifications. And if you have any questions, just let me know at any time. So again, this is a certification that's in the state of North Carolina that I also want to make you all aware of. Specifically, funding came to states to support small business owners that were attached to COVID-19, the pandemic. Please be aware of these opportunities in your state. They're usually attached to your MWBE office, your state hub offices. In North Carolina, NCSBE certification is new, and it's attached to COVID-19 relief funding. Again, this is another opportunity that you can use to support your business. Some of the key takeaways is when you go after certifications, it's really about your business model and if it assists your business. Okay, that's the biggest thing. So oftentimes what we get asked are, is certification going to help me grow my business? Is it going to provide an opportunity for me to create a relationship with the state government, with the public entity, with the purchasing office? And what my response has been actually over the past 15 years is your certifications are only as powerful as you are at promoting your business. And so once you get your certifications, you actually have to work at utilizing those certifications. You can meet with procurement officers. You can meet with NCAIED staff that will assist you with your certifications. You can call me up. Actually, right before I came up to speak, one of my business owners was texting me. He is a tire shop in Robinson County, and he would actually like to grow his business to sell tires to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in North Carolina. He actually is 2 person down. He had a meeting with one of my program officers, but he's under a car replacing a tire, right? And so he was texting me to reschedule this meeting. And so I said that to you to say it's about the power of you to promote your business and use your certifications to your business's advantage, no matter how big your business is. If you don't understand the nuances around supporting yourself, promoting your businesses, your certifications are not going to matter. And so that's the biggest thing to keep in mind about certifications. Is your business eligible? Oftentimes, I get asked the number one question. I'm in partnership with my wife or my husband. You know, we're 50-50, and we're passionate. We split everything down the middle, and we don't know if we should be woman-owned or minority-owned or veteran-owned. And so what I always say is, look at your business model. It's not a moral dilemma. Look at your business model. What's going to better affect your business to either be veteran certified or woman-owned? Either way, look at your business model and look at the business opportunities you have in your ecosystem and go after the certification that's going to make sense for your business. If you want to be veteran-owned and you see that 80% of the market that you want to go into, the certification for veteran ownership actually will be strategic for your business to be veteran-owned. If it's a disadvantage for you to be a woman-owned business because there's less opportunity, then common sense says you don't become a woman-owned business. But your business model is something that you need to take off the shelf and look at on a regular basis along with your business plan, right? So again, some business owners don't take a look at their business plan after they've written it, after they've secured their funding, they've put it on a shelf. But what we'd like to actually emphasize is look at your business model, dust off your business plan on a regular basis, and make sure that you are growing your business according to your growth and projection that you put in that business plan that you either wrote or paid for. And if you have excelled it and you are in a new market or a new growth for your business, then it might be time to rewrite your business plan. So business plans aren't documents you just create to get funding or, to file for your articles of incorporation. The energy that you put in your business plan and you put in your certifications are actual energies to grow your business. And so we like to remind folks of that. That's what we learned through the strength of AICER. The last thing is that when you go after certifications, there is a timeline. Like when you sit down with these program officers with NCAIED, or you contact one of the program managers with CREATE, there is a timeline and a process for your certifications. If you have a bid due next week, then make sure that you have adjusted your schedule to have your certifications done well in advance of when a bid's due, right? Again, it helps to have some commonsensical reminders as a business owner. So if I know that SBA certifications, for example, become an 8A firm could take a 2-year, process. It could be a 2-year process. Then you can't see a bid opportunity at Fort Bragg that's due next month, and then you want to go get your 8A certification, and I know it's going to take you 2 years to get that certification. So again, it's about timing. So ultimately, certifications depend on goals and commitments that are made by the state and federal government, right? Sometimes we get asked also too, well, it's a moral dilemma, like it's what should be done, or oftentimes we also hear folks questioning whether or not minority certification should exist, if it's an unfair disadvantage for minority-owned firms. But no matter what we enforce through the work of our policy and through the work of AICER is that public sector work is a commitment made by the state and federal government to reflect the citizenship of the United States. It's not a moral dilemma. It's not an ethical dilemma. It's a policy, it's a legislative act, and it's law. And until those laws get struck down, MWBE certifications, veteran certifications, disadvantaged, disabled business certifications, women's certifications exist. And so if you are eligible to go after those certifications, then by all means, this is a capitalist economy. Get your businesses certified and promote yourself. And so this is a little bit of data about publicly funded procurement processes. So what this means is, and when you look at these numbers, it's always good to understand the procurement process for the amount of contract you're going after. So usually, if it's less than $5,000, then you're going to understand that those P-card purchases, if it's $5,000 to $10,000, usually that's an RFQ. If it's less than $10,000, then there's an invitation for bid process that you need to be understanding of. If it's more than $10,000, that's an RFP process. So long story short, you need to understand the formula that goes along with each one of those spending thresholds in your state and in the federal contracting process that you want to participate in, right? So for example, something that's more than $10,000 isn't going to be a P-card purchase. So that's it. I'm here for the rest of the day. If you all have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take questions. But again, The strength of our partnership really is truly understanding how we support NCAIED, tribal businesses, and expanding the work of AICER to include work with tribal governments. So thank you.